Hi everyone, my name's Maddie. I will be covering a research paper that looked at the impact of adverse childhood experiences on criminal activity. Going into a little bit of background on why this paper was done, adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs like abuse, neglect, or household dysfunction, have been long connected to crime, but most research has focused on Western high income societies. What this study does differently is take a truly global perspective, asking, do these links hold in very different cultural and economic contexts? Looking deeper into the past research that the authors mentioned in the paper, they mentioned studies surrounding high prevalence and long term consequences of ACEs, the link between child maltreatment and antisocial or criminal behavior, how gender differences are unclear in some of the past meta analysis done, and that there is a lack of cross cultural and global studies. Looking over the objective and the participants, the researchers used data from nearly 3,800 young adults aged from 18 to 20 in 10 countries: Portugal, Spain, France, Mozambique, South Africa, Brazil, Iraq, Palestine, Thailand, and Australia. Participants came from the community settings like universities, workplaces, and online and answered detailed questionnaires. They also separated the countries by HDI top tier, which were more developed countries, and HDI low tier, which were less developed countries. The authors did not straight out state their hypothesis, but it can be inferred from their objective that they believe that adverse childhood experiences, including maltreatment and household dysfunction, are positively associated with criminal behavior in young adulthood across different countries, even when accounting for sex, age, and national differences. Looking at methodology, they used two main instruments: the ACE questionnaire and a criminal variety index. They also included a country level measure, which I mentioned before, the Human Development Index, to compare more developed versus less developed countries. Diving deeper into the questionnaire, the Adverse Childhood Experiences, or ACE questionnaire, is a question of 10 types of childhood adversity, including physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, neglect, parental mental illness, substance use in the home, domestic violence, divorce, or having an incarcerated family member. Some questions were yes, no, while others were 1 to 5 rating scale. Looking at the Criminal Variety Index, a list of 10 different legal behaviors, participants indicated yes or no for which behavior they had committed in the past year. And then the Country Human Development Index was a country level score, not a questionnaire, showing each nation's overall development. Going into their findings, they concluded that ACEs that consistently predicted more criminal behavior across almost all models. The ACEs that were the most consistent and strongest predictors were physical abuse, sexual abuse, physical neglect, household substance abuse. Sexual abuse was the strongest predictor overall. In the full sample, people who experienced sexual abuse reported 42% more criminal activities. For males, it was 29% more likely, and for females, it was 47% more. Continuing on with the results, there were gender differences. For females, sexual abuse was the strongest predictor. For males, physical abuse was slightly stronger than sexual abuse in predicting criminal variety. Most ACEs that were significant stayed significant for both genders, but the strength of the predictor differed. Looking at the development of country differences, in high HDI countries, sexual abuse was the strongest predictor. In low HDI countries, physical abuse became the strongest predictor. Overall, this study had a conclusion that there's a strong link between child maltreatment, specifically physical abuse, sexual abuse, and physical neglect, and later criminal behavior, showing that these effects are largely intercultural. The findings emphasize the need for global policy and interventions to break the cycle of violence. Looking at future implications for global policies, the paper suggested approaches that included educating parents on nonviolent discipline, supporting children in economically deprived families, and training justice and social care professionals to prevent and address child maltreatment. The study also calls attention to the often overlooked impacts of household dysfunction, for example, parental substance abuse, incarceration, and mental illness, and stresses the importance of combating stigma and social exclusion to reduce adverse outcomes in criminal behavior worldwide. That is all I have for you today. Thank you for listening.